Hey, what's up, YouTube? Major G. And today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the new Death Note that's coming out for Netflix. So, I think it's GameSpot just put up a little kind of mini thing talking about who the cast members are and all that. And I've already seen it, just to let you know, but I'm going to rewatch it and then talk about it for just a little bit. And just talk about like the cast and my thoughts on that. So, see. Here we go. Okay. Alrighty. So, my thoughts on it are that I'm okay with it. I know a lot of people are just complaining. Of course they are. They always do. They're always gonna have. You're always gonna have your complainers complaining about whatever.
Oh, check it out. There's actually fans. There's not many of them, but still. Did you read this?
Yep.
Although for fans, they sure do complain a lot. Listen to this. Simpatico says the demon storyline is trite, cliched, and overall craptastic. Yeah, well, screw you, Simpatico. We lived it.
But I think it's fine. It's it's an adaptation of an anime series, and I think one of the good things that Netflix has done is that they've made it something of an international cast. It's not, of course, it's not fully an international cast. It's almost like more like Power Rangers, the old Power Rangers. In that, like, you have your three white people, a black dude, and an Asian person. So, or a black person and an Asian person. So, it's not as international as it could be, or not international, diverse. There we go. That's the word. It's not as diverse as it probably could be, but this is a story that is perfectly fine for American adaptation. There's not everything can always perfectly translate into an American adaptation. Naruto is on the fence. Hopefully they don't Americanize that when it comes out. Let's see. Anything in the future is basically just off limit because we don't know what happens in the future. I'm just talking about mostly present day and historical stuff. So let's see what else is good for an American adaptation. Full Metal Alchemist would be fine for an American adaptation. Emma, Tokyo Tribe 2. And while Tokyo Tribe 2 does take place in Tokyo, it would be just fine if it took place somewhere else, and with a mostly black cast. So let's see, and it really wouldn't make a difference either way. Let's see what else. And of course, Death Note. Death Note is fine. There's nothing really specific that ties it to Japan except the methodology of the Shinigami lore. And even that you could just attribute to, like, it's Japanese lore, but it just happened somewhere else because Shinigami are not supposed to be localized to just Japan as their gods. Gods can be anywhere. So, you know, you could have a Shinigami dropping it in America. Hopefully what I'm really hoping for is that instead of, if they're going to do it that way and do the adaptation way and make everybody an American cast, at least changing the name somewhat. Because you can't have a light Yagami and a Shotaro Yagami being a white guy. No. We saw that with Kyo Kusanagi in the King of Fighters movie, and that was a terrible idea. That was one of the reasons it was so bad, was because you had Sean Ferris playing an Asian guy, especially since, as a little kid, he was a little Asian kid, and then he grew up to be Sean Ferris. It just doesn't make any sense. What else? So, now, in some ways, this is almost better than the original version because it's a little bit more diverse. In the original version, there were only I'm not even going to say Asian. It was all Japanese and white people, and that was it. At least now we have a black person in there, so that's good. And we have, so Light obviously was Japanese. L probably was white. Watari was Japanese. Because remember, it's possible L could be white because he was raised in Europe or something. And the whole point behind him was that he was an orphan, raised from, he was an orphan. We don't know who his parents are. We probably don't necessarily know his lineage. And even when Lisa sees his name, I don't think they actually show his true name. So, let me think. So yeah, it is, and the way it's done is, and the original story was done is, oh yeah, and of course you have the fake L. The fake L was definitely a white guy, just like in the Death Note movie. And in the TV show, in the TV show, he was also a white guy. I didn't get to that point. I gotta watch beyond the first episode. And then of course there was Ray Penber. Ray Penber was a white guy with the FBI, and he was married to a Japanese woman. But yeah. Yeah, so we're going to get, at the very least, the positive thing is that we're going to get more diversity than we did in the original anime version. And the cool thing is that this is something that is not heavily tied into Japanese society, so it doesn't necessarily matter. Like, it really can work in America, especially with all the crimes and all the craziness that's happening over here. It would definitely work, because it's more about vigilantism than anything else. Like, if it was, say, Samurai Champloo and you had a bunch of white guys, it would not make sense. It really would not, because Samurai Champloo is about samurai in Japan. So if it was Kenshin starring a white guy, it's about samurai in Japan with white guys. It doesn't make sense. So I mean, with all the complaining that people were doing, I think they're just mostly thinking about the original property and thinking that it only has to be just like the original property when it came. In fact, it doesn't necessarily have to. It can have that spirit. It can, especially if it's adaptable to anywhere else. And that's one of the good things about Death Note, which is that it doesn't have to take place in Japan. They can make a Polish version of Death Note. I mean, they can make an African version of Death Note. I mean, it really doesn't matter where it takes place and who the cast is, as long as, you know, you keep the story intact. And the story does not necessarily mean that you have to have a full-on Japanese cast. That's something. I am actually looking forward to this. I think this is going to be a pretty cool series, especially considering the kind of quality stuff that Netflix has been putting out. Netflix has been putting out some really good stuff, because I think they're not necessarily tied to a major producer, major studios, and all that stuff. They've allowed their directors or their creators to go wild on their things, and it's worked out for them. You know, unlike some people who don't seem to get the message. 20th Century Fox. 20th Century Fox. So I'm actually looking forward to it. With Netflix's track record, they generally do good stuff with what they're given, and yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with the cast. Pretty much everybody except for the guy playing Light, the guy playing L, and the guy playing Watari, I'm actually familiar with. I have seen Leftovers. It would be nice to see that actress in a different role, because her role in The Leftovers was very annoying. So I would like to see what else she could do. And I guess that might not necessarily mean that, because I've seen a bunch of people from Orange is the New Black in different TV shows, so it might not necessarily mean that she's not going to be on Leftovers anymore. And then you have, everybody knows Willem Dafoe, Green Goblin. Who else? He's I don't know the guy playing L. Oh, I felt like there was one more that I was familiar with. Oh yeah. The guy playing Detective Yagami, right? And I'm familiar with him because I saw Boardwalk Empire. He was the guy that played Steve Buscemi's brother. He was chief of police. He played the chief of police in Atlantic City, which was Steve Buscemi's character's brother. So, and he was pretty good in that. And so, yeah, I'm actually looking forward to it. But what do you guys think? Are you looking forward to seeing more Death Note? Do you agree with my assessment of this? How do you guys feel about it? And keep in mind, think about why, if you're upset about it, think about why it might be bad, as opposed to just going, oh, it's not Japanese people, it's gonna suck. And I'm actually eager to see what the trailer's gonna look like. I'm very eager to see that. So you guys let me know in the comments, like, comment, subscribe, and share, and all that good stuff. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Peace out.